I'm Austin Gasparini. I am Victoria's boyfriend. I work at chess.com, the world's greatest chess website, hashtag sponsored, hashtag ad, and I'm excited about this. I basically, since I was a kid, at like various stages, I wouldn't say I was seriously an adventurer, but I grew up in upstate New York, so I was always surrounded by nature. It was really beautiful, really fun. My parents would take us on hikes. I was always playing soccer outside. We had a big property. We kind of lived in the boonies. So always, I would say I took it starting more seriously, probably within the last couple of years. Honestly, during COVID, I started going surfing, took a big surfing trip, met Victoria. She got me into hiking and camping, so that's been fun. Pretty dramatically, I think I spend so much time indoors for my job. I'm always at a desk. I've always been kind of a homebody to some extent, and the ability to get outside and like disconnect from screens that I'm on all the time is huge for me. So I don't think I've ever more happy than when I'm surfing or when I'm running outside or when I'm just walking around. Honestly, it's huge for me. It's a tough question. I think it like depends on the person. I think it's easy to say, it's hard to do, but like just try to do something. Join a group. If you're afraid to go out by yourself, I know like hiking or doing stuff by yourself is intimidating. So I think if you can find a group that's catered towards your skill level, that's going to be huge. And it's also probably going to keep you doing that thing longer because you have a group around you that's also interested in the same thing. Otherwise, it's like you got to take risks sometimes. So if you're sitting there like researching all day, how do I do this? How do I get started doing this? That's helpful to be prepared. But I think more important is just like taking that first step outside. That's always the hardest one. Oh, gee, I wonder who. Definitely Victoria, definitely you. I think, like I said, I've always done stuff outside, but most of my friends don't really do outdoorsy things. I've got one friend, Dan, who I went hiking with in Colorado a couple years ago. That was awesome. But other than that, I grew up with a bunch of people that live around cities, and so there's not that much opportunity to do stuff outside. And obviously I moved to Texas a year ago from New York, and I knew nobody. So there's not really a person aside from you, Victoria, that I am able to do a lot of this stuff with. So I think you've taught me quite a bit about camping and the L&T principles. So that's always been fun. I'll do like this year and then longer term. I think this year I'm really into bouldering and rock climbing. I've always done it indoors in the gym because, like I said, I just don't have other people to do it with. So you need a partner at a certain level to get outside and belay yourself and all that. So I think my biggest goal this year is to climb outdoors for the first time. I think that's awesome and is going to be like a huge world opener for me in terms of expanding what I can do climbing. I also, like I said, I love surfing, and Austin, Texas is not known for their beach accessibility. So I'm definitely going to go back out to San Diego like I do every year and surf. I'm going to try to get a bunch of time in because it's something I love to do, and I just don't have the ability to do it every day. So I try to make the most of it. I would also love to run a marathon this year. It's been on my list for years, and I was supposed to run the New York City Marathon before COVID. And then lo and behold, I signed up for the 2020 New York City Marathon, and we all know what happened. So it's something that I haven't really pursued since then because I just haven't had the passion to run, but it's been on my list forever, and there's not really a reason why I haven't done it. So that's this year. Beyond that, I would like to get back out to Colorado and hike more of the 14ers. I've only done one, and it was a blast. And so I don't know if I'm ever going to do all of them, but just being out in nature and that kind of serious hiking and climbing and rock scrambles was so much fun. So I want to do more of that for sure. It's hard to pick one, so I'm going to pick two and be unfair. The first one is, so I hiked Long's Peak. I hiked the Keyhole route on Long's Peak in Colorado with my buddy Dan. So we went out to Colorado. I had never been in any serious elevation at all. I've born and raised in New York, so always around sea level. And everyone says, like, don't do Long's Peak as your first 14er. It's a terrible idea, which is probably true, but we are young, dumb men, and so we said, screw it, let's just send it. And so we did that, and we were able to do it, but it was one of the hardest things physically I think I've ever done. It was so much fun, don't regret it, but after that, everything else kind of feels very achievable. So like I said, I'm looking forward to doing more of the 14ers. Other than that, which is like the most physically challenging thing, I think the most thing I'm most proud of mentally is learning how to surf. So I know how to swim. I've always been around the oceans growing up because I lived in New York, but I'd never learned how to surf, and I'd always wanted to. So during COVID, I literally just said, like, why don't I just go to San Diego, take surf lessons for a week, and just teach myself, basically. And I did that, and I'm so glad I did, because if I could live by the beach every day, that's what I would be doing 99% of my time. Definitely the ocean. Yeah, I don't live near the ocean because it's such like a special place that I almost don't want it to be something that I lose the uniqueness of. So one day I'd love to have like a place by the ocean that I can just go every day and just be by the water, surf, hang out. But something about the sound of the waves and the openness of it, I think, is really awe-inspiring and very peaceful for me.